It's 110 years since the great Yorkshire cricketer Lord Hawke, as chairman of the Leeds Cricket, Football and Athletic Company, put together his vision of what a sporting venue should look like in the 20th century. And while architectural styles have changed, he would recognise what lies before us today. Headingley has provided the backdrop for 12 Challenge Cup finals down the years, including the very first one back in 1897. And today it's a fitting setting for the ultimate rugby league summit meeting between the sides that contested last October's inaugural grand final, Leeds and Wigan. It's the pairing that everyone wanted, everyone that is except the two clubs, and perhaps the ticket office staff here who've had to work overtime to cope with demand. Despite the mixed weather, the crowd isn't far short of 20,000, at least 4,000 of those have come from Wigan. When the draw was made a fortnight ago, this was the second tie out of the bag, but was without question the #1 game. Such is the interest that Bradford Bulls kicked off at noon against Workington so that their fans could dash home to watch this game with us. Bradford have won that, as you can see, just. Wakefield went through on Friday against Batley, and yesterday the holders Sheffield Eagles went out, beaten at Salford. It was also farewell to the amateurs of Lee Miners Rangers and Featherstone Lions. These two sides the most successful in the history of the Challenge Cup. Between them they've won it 26 times, and they met in the finals of 94 and 95, Wigan winning both. Leeds have reached at least the last four stage in 5 of the last 6 seasons, but last year they lost in this, the 4th round, to a last-minute try by Castleford. Wigan's record is without parallel. Beaten finalists last May, they won the competition 8 years in a row up to 1995. And of their last 51 ties in this competition, they have lost just 3. This is the 25th meeting in the Challenge Cup. It looks reasonably even, but those figures disguise the fact that Leeds haven't beaten Wigan since the semi-final of 1968. They met 4 times last season. Wigan won the games that really mattered in the playoffs and then the grand final itself, after Leeds won both home and away in Super League. And this competition for the Silk Cup Challenge Cup retains a special place in the affections of sports fans. Leeds with plenty of experience of occasions such as this, and in Darryl Powell they have a player capped 33 times by Great Britain, but who in 15 attempts has never got beyond the quarter-finals of the Challenge Cup. What a chance if they can beat Wigan.
Well, then, we see everything as an opportunity. I think we wouldn't have picked this game as our first one in the Challenge Cup, and I'm sure Wigan wouldn't have done either. But it's an opportunity for us to progress, as it is for Wigan. It's going to be a tough game, and if we can come up with the right performance, we're pretty confident.
If you want to get to Wembley, you have to beat the good sides to get there anyway. So whether you beat them in the semi-final or the first round, it makes no difference. You've still got to play the hard matches to get there anyway.
It's a game that would have been fitting a Wembley final. So. It's a tough one first up, but that's the way it came out, so we've got to get on with it. I enjoy coming over to Headingley. I think it's a great place to play rugby league, and our players have been back in training now for 4 weeks, so we're a little underdone, but we'll give it our best.
What about your own point of view on this? Because it's your last chance, isn't it?
Yeah, certainly, and there's 2 up for grabs. There's Wembley and there's Old Trafford. One today is a lead up to Wembley, and we'd like to think we're a chance to get there, but having said that, there's a big tough hurdle in front of us.
The Leeds coach, Graham Murray, will leave at the end of the season, and he wanted to field the same team as in the grand final. But an injury to prop Martin Masella means one change in this team. Barry McDermott comes in. Iestyn Harris will start at full-back and will at some point move to stand-off. Most debate centred on the hooking role. Terry Newton, the subject of a bid from Wigan, recently starts, with new signing Lee Jackson on the bench. Wigan's plans were disrupted when scrum half Tony Smith fractured his ankle in a warm-up game. Dennis Betts is out until Easter following knee surgery. And with Henry Paul now at Bradford and 2 Australians, Bell and McCormack, having retired, there's a new half-back pairing of 2 more Aussies, former Test player Greg Florimo and his North Sydney colleague Mark Rieber, who only arrived in the country on Tuesday. Mick Cassidy occupies Wigan's problem position of hooker. So the 2 teams ready to enter this famous sporting arena. Andy Farrell on the right, the skipper of the Wigan Warriors, and just behind him, with the near-shaven head, Iestyn Harris, with the mascot leading out the Leeds Rhinos. Vivid colours, the blue and amber, of Leeds and the cherry and white of Wigan, the two biggest names in the sport, at one of its most splendid venues. So much depends on Iestyn Harris, who will skipper this Leeds team. Still only 22 years of age, but a man capable of turning any game. And his opposite number, Andy Farrell, a prolific point scorer. The first Wiganer ever to play and score in every game in a season. And when you think of some of the players that have played for the club down the years, the likes of Jim Sullivan and Frano Botica, that is a notable achievement. Well, we have brought Joe Lydon out of mothballs. We've shaken him down and woken him up. And he is sitting with me amidst the drizzle that is falling on Headingley. Joe, you became famous last season for getting splinters in your rear end for sitting on the fence, so please don't be like that again. What do you think today, Leeds or Wigan?
I think home advantage will be a deciding factor today. These teams are very well balanced, and despite the mothballs, as you mentioned, the atmosphere here at Headingley is one that stops you from dozing, certainly. I think it'll be an electric game, particularly in the opening exchanges.
You didn't actually mention them by name there, Joe, but I take it you're going for Leeds then. Home advantage is crucial.
I think so. I think that Wigan have had to put together in key positions players that aren't used to playing not only with each other but for the club itself, so I think it's going to be very difficult for them really to find the pattern early. Yesterday in the Challenge Cup, in the round with Salford and Sheffield, we saw a lot of handling errors, and I think that was due mainly to players being a little bit unsure. The start of the season is always difficult just to get the rhythm and tempo, and I think again you might see a few mistakes early on with people trying to settle down.
Well, 74 years ago today, Wigan recorded their record Challenge Cup victory against a team called Flimby and Fothergill. Jim Sullivan kicking 44 points as they ran up 100 plus, but this will be very, very close. Nothing like that at all. The referee, Russell Smith from Castleford, who also took charge of the grand final, leads to kick off. And this season, in real terms, with respect to some of the First Division sides in the Northern Ford Premiership who started last week, really is starting with this game just as last season finished with the same pairing in the grand final.
And played at the same pace as well. The short kick-off there, high kick-off, hanging up there, and Adrian Mullen chasing through, unlucky not to get possession, but the pressure is on Wigan deep inside their own 20 area.
And this is Andy Farrell bringing it up towards his own 20-metre line. Mark Reber at dummy half, which is going to be a feature. He has been named at scrum half, but John Money really expecting to use a half-back pairing in open play of Florimo and Farrell. And there's the kick by Radlinski. Ball inside Leeds territory. And we can get the early news from down on the touchline from Richard Duckenfield. How's it looking down there, Richard?
Well, it's the weather that's the significant thing here. The weather has certainly deteriorated. It's continuing to do so. This is a soaking, drenching drizzle, and it's going to make handling very, very difficult indeed. Joe was talking before about the unfamiliarity between certain Wigan players. Well, surely that's going to be exaggerated by a slippery, greasy ball. Handling is very important here.
There speaks a man who forgot to pack his waterproof coat, I think.
I think you must be right.
Certainly high intensity in the opening moments of this game. Such frequent and such fierce rivals down the years. Darren Fleary taking the tackle. Terry Newton at acting half to Barry McDermott, who juggled the ball but kept hold and then offloaded to Harris. Signs of wear and tear on the playing surface are unsurprising. This is also the home of the Leeds Tykes rugby union team, and there are all sorts of reserve and youth fixtures played on this as well. So whilst it's the start of the top-grade rugby league season, it's the midst of the rugby season overall. Radlinski under the high ball. Cummins was challenging. A ball went loose, and eventually it was kicked behind very hurriedly by Gary Connolly. Radlinski has taken a blow in the process. He's usually so secure beneath the high ball, but Cummins was right in his face.
That's exactly right. Harris choosing to go to the earth very early in the game, put it up. Radlinski was in the position, but Francis Cummins putting the pressure on, and Gary Connolly, we mentioned the slippery conditions, couldn't control. And that was the first chance for Leeds, and a good one. Chris Radlinski looking a little bit dazed and stunned.
There's Robinson, 10 metres from his own line. through the hands of Florimo.
Noticeable early in these exchanges how condensed Leeds keep their defensive line. Almost tempting Wigan to try and go on the outside.
And Reba flying down the middle. This time it's Robinson at acting half back to Farrell, who'll kick. Down towards the 20-metre line. A retreat by Harris and faced by a wall of cherry and white shirts. No surprise that he didn't get too far. Rivette, the winger. Selected ahead of Paul Sterling, the veteran, for this occasion, just as he was for the grand final as well. Wigan's tackling firm and secure. Adrian Morley had to burrow his way through. Newton to McDermott. Pearson looking figure. And managed to offload again. Cummins. Sheridan. Now Darryl Powell. Just got the kick away. Being pursued by Rivette, but Radlinski is there for Wigan.
Good cover from Chris Radlinski, the fullback of Wigan. But it's a good kick too from Powell. Spotting a gap in the corner.
Russell Smith didn't like that. And he's been forced to intervene.
Yes, a dangerous tackle was the ruling. 3 players in the tackle, lifting his legs. Could have caused an injury in the referee. Russell Smith quick to make sure that there was no resulting flare-up of tempers.
Welcome to English Rugby League. Farrell's kick. It's a splendid sight, Headingley, when it's pretty well full, as indeed it is today.
Number 15 there, Mark Reba, the new recruit from Wigan from Australia, playing in the half-back position, but has gone to almost a hooking role in the dummy half position for most of the play of the balls. He will be a key for the distribution for Wigan.
Simon Horton. Pass was quite high, but managed to hang on. Play on the halfway line. Reba. Florimo. Oh, not the best to Farrell. Play's allowed to continue. This is Radlinski trying to spot a gap in the Leeds defence. A gap that didn't exist. Big Terry O'Connor actually bounced off his opponent, and now it's Tony Mestrov, the other front row forward. Former London Bronco. Reba. This time it's the kick over the top, left-footed towards Harris. Looks for support, and it comes from Francis Cummins. These sides didn't produce too many points when they met last year. 4 games, totaled 82 points, and there was very little to choose between them in any of the contests.
And certainly in the first half of all those contests, very, very close.
Wigan caught offside, and the tap is taken very quickly by Blackmore, and Radlinski had to be alert, more alert than some of his colleagues to stop him. Sheridan, now Harris, 3 to his left, plays it into the arms of Glanville. Mark Glanville, the Australian forward, who's announced that this is going to be his last season. Sheridan, now Darryl Powell.
Darryl Powell showing his experience there. The Wigan defensive line had moved quickly up to cut down the options. He decided instead to take it himself, just set up field position.
McDermott bars Mestrov out of the way. Newton to Sheridan. Leeds with men available on the far side, but it's been dropped by Blackmore. And the ball was picked up by Paul Johnson. And a Leeds opportunity goes begging. Farrell. Ceaseless action in the opening 7 minutes of this 4th round Silk Cut Challenge Cup tie. Jason Robinson. There was speculation, Joe, that he might have even been named in the side at scrum half today, but that wasn't something that John Mooney was prepared to contend with.
No, I think Wigan would have I'll bet to keeping him on the wing. He is an exceptional player when it comes to picking the ball up from dummy half and running, but he also causes problems out wide. And if you contain him in the middle of the field, I think Leeds would have been a lot happier.
The ball's been lost. McDermott, and there is a little altercation off the ball involving Darren Fleary. Brad Godden looked outside him towards Cummins, but decided not to release the ball. Morley, powerful runner. It takes 3 Wigan players to haul him to the ground. Newton at dummy half. Now Powell. And now Harris has got Ribet outside him. Harris trying to go it alone. Brought down 8 metres short. Leeds pressing strongly. First try on these occasions can be so crucial in what are often low-scoring encounters. Ryan Sheridan, the scrum half. Wigan have regrouped somewhat. Harris. Powell was the dummy, really. Shaped as if to take the pass. Delivered elsewhere. Last tackle. Newton to Harris, who'll dictate play with the kick towards the corner. Gathered by Jason Robinson, who's hemmed in and is held behind his own line.
Well, Jason Robinson is elusive, but 4 Leeds players here hemming him in. And there's just no way out of his own in-goal area. Cummings, Morley and Harris forcing Jason Robinson back.
Jason Robinson, who has scored a try in each of his last 6 test appearances for Great Britain. They're seen very much in defensive mode. Darryl Powell, the former Sheffield Eagle. Reception committee awaiting, led by Simon Horton and by Terry O'Connor. Anthony Farrell. Up to and just over the 20-metre line. Leeds establishing some good positions in the opening stages of this tie. Here's Darren Cleary, making 2 or 3 extra yards.
And again, working to centre field, 2 options either side. Leeds go to the left.
Here's Harris, and now Morley, and there's a gap for Brad Godden, who's through and is in. First blood to Leeds after heavy early pressure, and the Australian Brad Godden has found a way through. Leeds in front.
Well worked by Leeds. Centre field position, chose the left-hand option and really had the numbers cause problems in the Wigan defence with angle runs. And as you say, the opening score for Brad Godden and Leeds.
Godden, twice capped by Australia at test level.
There's the short pass from Morley. Managed to draw the defence in, and Brad Godden ran the angle well and evades Jason Robinson's desperate tackle at the end to score. That's the decisive angle run, and Godden back on the angle. Radlinski comes across and Robinson, but they cannot stop the try being scored. The dummy runner on the inside, Morley with a beautiful short pass, and Godden crashes over for the first try.
Yes, Robinson was left isolated with 2 men to worry about, and he couldn't get to either of them, most notably the ball carrier, Godden. So a chance for Iestyn Harris to turn 4 points into 6. Composing himself, a couple of deep breaths. Eyes focused only on the ball. It's there.
A perfect result. All the hours of practice in training with the kicking boot put to good effect, and 2 points tagged on to the 4 points for the try.
John Money and Andy Goodway with something to think about and something perhaps to concern them.
A couple of chances for Leeds in the opening 10 minutes, but this was the key one that they scored from. Angle runs galore, and Godden coming back in to cause confusion in the defence. And then to tag on the extra 2 points, Iestyn Harris with a superb opening kick.
Probably just the start that this tie needed.
I think so. It had to be an electric start. Everybody knew that was the case. I suspected that it may go longer without a score, with defences being on top, but Leeds have dominated the opening exchanges, spent probably 90% of the time in possession, deep in Wigan's territory.
So, from the new kick-off rule, which ensures that the side that has just scored receives possession from the kick-off, Leeds with the ball.
An example of good, sensible refereeing in a high-tempo game like this. The referee just had a very quiet word with Darren Cleary of Leeds, who he felt was maybe just being a little over-enthusiastic at times. So it was just a quiet word, calm down, good game.
Greg Florimo is the Wigan player who felt the full force of a challenge from Barry McDermott.
Well, Barry McDermott on full charge is going to cause problems all the time. Florimo is no soft touch in the tackling department. But here's Barry McDermott charging up and just bounces Florimo off.
Barry McDermott gives the appearance of having 2 or 3 bricks stashed up his jumper, bearing in mind the way that Florimo bounced off him. And here's Darren Fleary, again taking the attack very much to Wigan. Newton, Sheridan, now McDermott again. No way was Florimo going to be anywhere near that tackle, and it was left to Terry O'Connor.
Barry McDermott trying to release the ball in that tackle. Wise just to hang on in these conditions. He really has started at a frantic pace, Barry McDermott, wearing the number 10 shirt for Leeds.
And of course he's up against his big friend today. It's ball lost by Iestyn Harris, and Wigan have regathered it, but he's up against Terry O'Connor, who was his best man.
There's the graphic that shows Leeds have dominated these early exchanges. 74%.
McDermott and O'Connor have been at it all week in the build-up to this Challenge Cup tie. Great friends. There's Terry O'Connor, who Barry McDermott calls the Ginger Whinger. Hardly friendly.
Who needs enemies?
Here's Florimo. Inside to Lee Gilmore. Gilmore running laterally and putting on a burst of pace and then losing the ball, but Russell Smith has seen that there was a swinging arm, and he's given a penalty to Wigan.
Accusing Darryl Powell of swinging the arm in the tackle. He didn't make contact with Lee Gilmore, but the referee on the spot.
Darryl Powell, the player who's given away this penalty, 33 years of age, his 15th season as a rugby league professional, and Farrell safely finding touch. A chance for Wigan to hit back with Terry O'Connor. Ferocious Leeds tackling. Here's Mestrod. He too doesn't get too far, but they're only 12 metres from the Leeds line. Farrell is taken by Newton. O'Connor, Wigan working it towards this near side, their right flank, and Florimo wasn't quite held. He did manage to dump the ball to Reba, but it did precious little good for the Wigan cause, but that's another penalty.
This time Brad Godden, the try scorer for Leeds, guilty of just holding down Mark Reba, trying to get up and play the ball quickly. And it'll be a chance for Andy Farrell, the Wigan skipper, to get 2 points on the board for Wigan.
Andy Farrell, so reliable as a goal kicker. And Leeds really having their first breather of the game after more than a quarter of an hour of play, as Farrell tees the ball up. Phenomenal point-scoring record when you consider that for some of his career he wasn't the first choice kicker when Frano Botica was at Wigan, and the Kiwi was setting all sorts of point-scoring records. Something for the Wigan hordes who travelled in such numbers across the M62 to acclaim at last on a rather murky Leeds afternoon.
And the successful penalty conversion by Andy Farrell just shows that mistakes of any kind can be punished. Great kickers from both sides on display today, and Andy Farrell there in shot, one that will take every opportunity presented to him.
We just got a glimpse of the murky conditions, which are in great contrast to the build-up to this game for both these sides. They've both been in Lanzarote in training camp for this game. Wigan went 3 weeks ago and Leeds were there only last week. In fact, they were informed of the result of the fourth round draw by telephone and didn't believe they'd been drawn against Wigan at this early stage of the competition. Now they believe it.
At that draw there was some sharp intakes of breath as this draw was made, and there are a few players out there doing exactly the same thing, trying to get the breath back, because this has started at a fantastic pace.
which is everything that we expected. Reba to O'Connor. Couldn't break the first tackle, that of Terry Newton. Now it's Farrell, sizing up the kick from inside his own 40, and he was aiming to take advantage of this new rule which allows you to kick from inside your own 40-metre area into the opposition 20-metre area, and then it gives the kicking side head and ball at the scrum, but he just failed by 3 or 4 metres.
That's right, the ball has to travel into touch with a bounce, and then you will have head and feet at the scrum, which almost guarantees possession. And you have 2 kickers today who can achieve that objective in Iestyn Harris and Andy Farrell.
As it is, it's Leeds put in and Leeds ball with Powell. Tackle was firm on Iestyn Harris from Greg Florimo. And now Godden. Francis Cummins, whom we haven't seen a great deal in the opening quarter of this game. Newton, now Fleary. He's a powerhouse of a player, Darren Fleary, and Francis Cummins, apart from causing a little early worry for Chris Radlinski, has not been to the fore so far. Iestyn Harris with the kick halfway between Radlinski and Robinson, taken by the fullback Radlinski, embraced by 2 Leeds tacklers.
You just wonder, with the intensity of the tackling in this game, if the tactics showed by Andy Farrell of Wigan earlier might not be the right one to adopt. An early kick, a kick before the 5 tackles.
Oh, that was a bad tackle. Barry McDermott. It's off. It's a sending off for the high tackle on Simon Horton. Barry McDermott has been sent off, and Leeds, against their ultimate rivals, are reduced to 12 after only a quarter of the game.
No doubt it was high, but I would suggest that it was a reflex action more than anything else. Barry McDermott shaking his head. He did catch Simon Horton high here, around the head area, and it's definitely a penalty, and I would say that you cannot really argue with the referee. His only defence being that it was probably a reaction. But you'll notice that both Barry McDermott's feet were off the floor and he made contact.
I just wonder, Joe, whether Barry McDermott, I mean, he's made some tremendous hits out there, but as he makes his way back towards the Leeds dressing room so early in the afternoon, whether he was almost too pumped up for this game.
Well, you mentioned the rivalry and the friendship that exists between Terry O'Connor, the prop forward from Wigan, and Barry McDermott. They have been at each other all week, trying to predict a winner and obviously make the mark on each other. And you're possibly right, John, they're a little bit too fired up for this contest. He had started the game so well, Barry McDermott, not only driving in and making crunching tackles, but offloading the ball as well. And that'll be a big loss to Leeds.
So much so that you would alter the destination of your stake on this game?
Well, we've seen in the past when a team is reduced by 1 man or more, then they can actually group together and become more determined to win it. So it's not always the case that by right Wigan will win now, having the numerical advantage.
So in short, your last shilling is still riding on Leeds?
Exactly.
Robinson at acting half. Mick Cassidy wearing the scrum cap, tackled by Newton and by Fleary in tandem. Farrell. Gilmore running alongside him, and here's Reba, and there's Gilmore. Now can he make it to the line? He can't. It was a good tackle by Francis Cummins, but significant Wigan pressure now against the remaining 12 men of Leeds. Reba. The referee pats his chest to show that it wasn't high. Farrell with the kick towards the corner. Radlinski's going for it. Oh, the ball bouncing inside the in-goal area, but no, the referee has intervened, and it is not a try.
With Radlinski and Paul Johnson both competing for the same ball, I think if it had just been one call, maybe Radlinski on his own, this would have been a try for Wigan. A great kick from Farrell into the corner. Andy Farrell just pumping the ball up, beautifully weighted, and Radlinski does make contact with it and had the best chance to score the try. Simon Horton does drop on the ball, but the try wasn't given.
Referee giving a knock on, and Leeds now back in possession after escaping for the time being, and still leading 6-2, but again the ball has gone loose and Wigan have regathered it. Graham Murray requiring liquid refreshment, perhaps reassessing his plans somewhat, but here goes Simon Horton, almost away, was grabbed by his shorts by Darryl Powell, and Leeds have been caught offside.
I think actually it's a penalty given to Leeds against Wigan for not playing the ball correctly. Simon Horton in a rush to play the ball and get his teammates back on attack, didn't make contact with the foot, and the referee gives Leeds a penalty and just relieves the pressure.
So Leeds with a chance just to recollect their thoughts. Neil Cowie is about to join us. He's going to replace Terry O'Connor in due course.
Yes, you can expect Wigan to throw on a fresh pair of legs to take advantage of the depleted Leeds side. That player will be Neil Cowie, ready to come on now.
Penalty to Leeds, kick taken towards the far side by Harris. That's a good one. So Leeds, who've soaked up some heavy attacking pressure, now on the attack themselves with Anthony Farrell. Newton's acting halfback. Ryan Sheridan, Darren Fleary. Fleary wrapped up by 3 Wigan players. Powell to Morley. Morley can't get beyond the tackle of the Wigan skipper Andy Farrell. Darryl Powell, Terry Newton. Then the Wigan defence holding firm, and the ball has come loose, but it went backwards. And here's Godden, the scorer of the only try so far. Newton, only one recipient of the pass possible, and that was Cummins. Last tackle. Newton to Powell. Just thought about launching the kick. Again the ball has come loose, and Leeds need to keep it alive. Drop goal attempt by Harris is good.
I feel the decision initially was for Powell to put the kick in. He got caught in possession, the ball came loose in a desperate attempt to try and get his teammate, find a teammate with a pass. Easton Harris, in the blink of an eye, weighs up the situation, thinks 1 point will do us right here. Easton Harris just has a look up, there's nothing on out wide, it is the last tackle, and therefore takes the 1 point.
Neil Cowie coming on in place of Terry O'Connor. And here's Cummins, close to his own line. Tackle was effected by Connolly and Florimo together.
And you can expect some more impact from Wigan. You can see that Brett Goldspink is probably the next player ready to come on, so John Mooney varying his options, spreading the forwards and bringing on another impact player.
Here's Glanville, a rugged player. Harris bounced away from Florimo. Anthony Farrell to Leroy Rivett. Blackmore outside him. Blackmore with the ball.
Well covered by Simon Horton to make the tackle.
Sheridan with a kick. Taken by Robinson on the first bounce. Now Danny Moore. Possession just in Leeds' favour. Cowie. Always gets a fairly ribald reception wherever he plays away from Central Park. Reba. And now Mick Cassidy. Showing great mobility, and Cassidy has broken clear and needs support. Classic tackle by the fullback Harris. Florimo. Secondary burst of Wigan attacking with Farrell chipping over the top. Radlinski is after it. Taken securely by Rivett. Leeds are going to make a change shortly. Lee Jackson is going to come on before too long. Terry Newton is the likely player to come off. But Russell Smith, the referee, has penalised Wigan.
I'm trying to steal a ball in the tackle, 2 players in there. I'm not sure which one was found guilty. Possibly Goldspink. But possession will be so crucial now, particularly for Leeds, a man down.
The former Great Britain hooker, Lee Jackson, who's been playing in Australia for the Newcastle Knights, in possession now and making his debut for Leeds in competitive rugby league. Here's Fleary. Jackson formerly with Hull and with Sheffield Eagles.
And another player that Wigan were looking at to ease the hooking worries.
Here's Morley. Darryl Powell. Iestyn Harris. Harris trying to use the sidestep to get in between Goldspink and Cassidy. Unsuccessfully. He wasn't held. Ball was allowed to be released. And here's Ryan Sheridan spinning away at first from Cassidy, but not beyond him. Last tackle. Harris. Leeds trying to find that gap that just at the moment is eluding them. And they're attempting so to do with only 12 men. Remember, Barry McDermott sent off for a high tackle on Simon Horton.
Russell Smith giving the knock-on against Neil Cowie. Was unsure, I think, himself, and then looked to his touch judge, Frank Hawley, who made the decision for him.
Leeds with Powell. Now Blackmore. Rivette is the player outside him. Blackmore, the player who scored the Leeds try that gave them an early lead in the grand final last October. Glanville. Jackson at dummy half. Now Ryan Sheridan. On the burst, Jamie Matthew. And a burst that has taken Leeds to within 3 metres. Sheridan. Now Harris. Harris dummying to pass to Morley, and Morley now has it via Godden, and there seemed to be a swinging arm there from Andy Farrell, but it was on the blind side of the referee. Sheridan. Now Powell. Leeds reversing the point of the attack with Farrell, and that too looked a little high by Simon Horton. Plays allowed to continue. Here's Darryl Powell. There's a big gap on the far side for Rivette. Can he power his way over? He can! Hardly typical of the ironclad Wigan defence that we've come to know and admire down the years. Rivette found a way to the corner and puts a margin now of 9 points between the sides.
Leeds making a mockery of the numerical advantage of Wigan, letting the ball do the work, finding the gap on the outside, and Leroy Rivette scores in the corner. What a try for Leeds at what an important time as well. Darryl Powell again involved. The wide pass finds Leroy Rivette on the outside, and he manages to step around Paul Johnson. A desperate challenge by him and by Donny Moore, but the try is scored. Just in and out, holds up the defensive line and just manages to cross for the try.
And whilst we were watching that rerun, Mick Cassidy has left the field to go to the blood bin. He's got a nasty looking cut by his left eye. Iestyn Harris weighing up the conversion attempt. He's shown his prowess from the left-hand touchline. Now it's from the right-hand side. It takes an inordinate length of time, but it's worth it.
Well worth it, those 2 extra points to tag on to any try. Crucial. And Leeds back in the driving seat. Despite the weather conditions and the drizzle that has been falling since kick-off, Leeds have been keen to throw the ball around, and that's the result.
So Leeds numerically disadvantaged, but well advantaged in terms of the scoreline. 13 points to 2 as we head down to the touchline of Richard Duckenfield again.
And you just begin to wonder if Leeds might not be haunted by memories of 2 years ago when they lost to 12 men at St Helens after Bobby Goulding was sent off.
Yes, that was a classic Challenge Cup tie. One of only 3 defeats for Wigan in their last 51 matches in this competition.
This scrum, the result of a mistake by Adrian Morley, and I think it's the fine line between keeping the tempo up and using the ball, and also having some security with possession.
Reba, Florimo, 3 to his left. Here's Danny Moore breaking the tackle, trying to whip the ball out, and he's managed to keep it alive, but that was high as well. They really are flying in at one another. I think that was Anthony Farrell that came hurtling in on that occasion. Danny Moore broke the initial tackle, and then Florimo was caught high by Anthony Farrell. Florimo seems to be making a point quite forcibly to referee Russell Smith. He has been subjected to some fairly rough treatment, but it's all part and parcel. Cowie gaining an extra couple of metres after the tackle before he was actually held. This is Farrell.
Good defence by Morley. He really read that one well. Leeds seem to be stretched on their right-hand side. If Wigan can find some good quick handling.
Here's Farrell. Florimo. The man over on the far side. Here's Horton. Horton's doing it alone. Horton scores. Simon Horton, a childhood Leeds supporter, scores against Leeds for Wigan. Surging run, took the ball at pace, accelerated away through a tackle, and wasn't going to be halted on the way to the goal line.
Wigan read the defence, realised they had the advantage on the outside. Florimo and Farrell combined, find Simon Horton, and again the strength and power of all these players on display today, with Simon Horton able to shrug off the would-be tacklers of Leeds to cross the line. Had support on the outside, didn't need it, and scores a great try for Wigan.
Simon Horton, former Dudley Hill, pupil of Bingley Grammar School, no more than 10 miles away from this Headingley ground. And Andy Farrell looking to tack on the extra 2 points with a very difficult kick. It's a great attempt by Farrell.
Not just an attempt, 2 points again. Great kickers on display. And how it lifts aside to score, try in the corner. You stand there and think, well, there's a possibility of 2, but when you have kickers of the quality of Farrell and Harris, you're almost certain of it. Here's, again, Simon Horton, using his strength to cross for the try.
Horton, the man who occupies a place in the Guinness Book of Records for scoring the most tries in a season. 130 for Bingley under-14s as a prop forward.
I remember him arriving at Wigan in the junior ranks, and people are saying, well, he can't really pass. He doesn't need to. I don't think he was ever taught how to pass, because he was scoring tries too often.
Cowie.
And away in the treatment room, Mick Cassidy of Wigan is having stitches, probably 6 or 7 stitches in what is a very tricky cut over his eyebrow, according to the Wigan doctor, Dr. Zaman. Nice to see some smiles on the Wigan faces for a change. A crucial time to score. Noticeable that Gary Connolly and Danny Moore were both smiling, I think, for the first time.
There's not too much to be happy about in the opening half hour, despite the dismissal of one of their opponents, Barry McDermott. Here's Lee Gilmore. Not too long to go to half-time. Robinson. Familiar short burst of speed, legs pumping. Reba. Florimo. Escapes the tackle of Blackmore. Back to Reba. Dragged back by Matthew. Farrell. Familiar kick towards the corner. Pursued by Paul Johnson. Taken by Iestyn Harris. Rivette. Trying to find a way beyond the end of the line of potential Wigan tacklers. Cummins. Lee Jackson. Blackmore. And Matthews' kick straight into the grateful arms of Jason Robinson. Robinson, helter-skelter type of figure. This time it's Paul Johnson from acting half. Tackled by Morley. Appeals for a forward pass, but nothing given. Florimo. Robinson. Farrell. Andy Johnson. Moore. Radlinski. Cowie. 30 metres out. Here's Andy Farrell with the high kick, beneath which is Iestyn Harris.
Andy Farrell would be disappointed with that. Just over a minute of play left in this half, not including stoppages, and I think he would have been better to put a little bit more pressure on Leeds. There is Andy Farrell, put the high kick up, but it was quite an easy take for Iestyn Harris in the full-back role.
Jackson, acting halfback. Tom Noni preparing some words for his half-time briefing. Only once has he lost a Challenge Cup tie. Matthew has lost the ball. Regathered by Farrell for Wigan. And Graham Murray has never won a Challenge Cup tie. It's only the second one in which he's been involved. They went out at the first hurdle to Castleford at this stage last season. Radlinski. Wigan looking for a score that might even take them in front by half-time. Trailing by 13 points to 8. But leading 13-12 in terms of players on the pitch. Goldsmith.
And remember, it was a turnover of possession that caused Wigan to score the last try, or resulted in the Wigan try.
Florimo. No chance of getting the ball away. So rough and tumble introduction to English Rugby League for Florimo and Reba. Andy Farrell to Horton. Did well to get the ball away to Andy Johnson down the outside route. Johnson just back from a ruptured Achilles tendon that kept him out of all of last season. Hurled out in desperation, but still with accuracy. Florimo, beyond Gilmore to Connolly. Connolly on the lateral run. Oh, and Radlinski! Great handling.
Wigan again read the numbers and find the overlap on the outside, this time on their right-hand side. I think it was Brad Gordon that came in to try and intercept the ball, realised that he was short of support in the defensive line. Gary Connolly was able to collect it, Gordon couldn't. The pass to Radlinski, a bit of a juggle, but the try, bang on half-time.
Could be so important in the overall context of the game. The reach, the fumble, the regather and the try. Scored by the Wigan fullback. The ball moved at bewildering speed, really, across from left to right. Sort of a champagne rugby, really, wasn't it? The way the ball was just hurled about with abandon, and Dennis Betts in conversation with the Leeds club doctor in the stand. One of several Wigan players and officials with a smile on their face now.
Well, Brad Gordon it was, the lead centre, that realised they were outnumbered in the ranks on the flanks. Tried to make amends by coming in and taking the ball instead of the man. Gary Connolly was the player that ended up with that football in his hands.
Simon Horton is going off to the blood bin, whilst Andy Farrell tees the ball up for a kick that will make the difference between Wigan trailing and Wigan leading at half-time. They are a point down at this stage. Simon Horton with that cut lip. This will be the final act of the first half. Farrell mumbling a few words to himself, setting himself and dragging it wide of the right hand upright. There's the hooter. And the scoreline replicates the state of the game. 1 player difference between the sides and 1 point difference between the sides. 13-12 in Leeds' favour in terms of the points. And in terms of men on the field, Wigan are 1 up. But this is a half of rugby league that has given us all that we expected, all we could have wished for. And here's Richard Duckenfield on the touchline.
With the Wigan assistant coach Andy Goodway, as they say, Andy, a very important time to score, really.
Yeah, just before half-time, it's great for us. You know, we're still in the game. Leeds are down to 12 men and defending magnificently. So we've got to keep our heads and stay with our game plan, and we'll see what the end of the game brings.
Dangerous to make predictions, but is this going to be a case of Wigan now having too many players?
No, it's a matter of us doing the right thing and trying to win the game how we plan to win the game, whether Leeds had 13 or 12 men.
Would you agree that Leeds were on top before the sending off?
I think it was probably 60-40 in Leeds' favour. I think we've come back to the front a little bit, you know, but we'll see what the end of the game brings, like I said.
Thanks, Andy.
I should explain that we did investigate the possibility of talking to Barry McDermott at half-time about his indiscretion, but it will, of course, be the subject of a disciplinary hearing, and rugby league officials are keen that that should not be prejudiced, so he is asked to keep his own counsel on the matter. But he was certainly pumped up in the opening 19 minutes before he made the high challenge on Horton, for which he was sent on. So the two sides making their way back out from beneath the main stand here at Headingley. Mark Glanville and Darren Fleary, Lee Jackson with the closely cropped hair, and this partisan crowd giving the sort of reception that you would expect for the two top sides in the sport of rugby league. Leeds, who finished second to Wigan in the Super League table last year and second to them in the grand final as well. And Andy Farrell, with so much experience for one so young, just 23 years of age. He, one of those that played in that game that we referred to 2 years ago when Bobby Goulding was sent off, playing for St Helens against Wigan for a high tackle, I think on Neil Cowie on that occasion. But the 12 men of St Helens held out and won by 26 points to 12. Greg Florimo making his debut in Wigan's colours today. Wes Davis has come on for the start of the second half in place of Johnson. Wes Davis, the grandson of Billy Boston, the great Wigan winger. Andy Farrell kicking off. And here's Powell. And the ball is on the 20-metre line as we go down to Richard Duckenfield.
You notice that Wes Davis is on the field for Wigan. That's because Paul Johnson, unexpectedly, has had to leave this game. He's got tummy trouble, he's got some sort of stomach bug, he's been feeling a little bit unwell before the game, and at half-time he felt, well, even more poorly. So Paul Johnson, Wigan, is going to be a spectator for the rest of this match, probably.
Here's Lee Jackson for Leeds, now playing from left to right. Rivette taking the ball and then taking the tackle, right on the halfway line. Sheridan. Now Harris, with an arcing kick that is pursued by Robinson. And now it is Jason Robinson, who used to be a ball boy here at Headingley, but was really more of a fan of one of the other Leeds clubs, Hunslet, like the Hunslet boys. Wes Davis becoming involved for the first time. It's only the second occasion that he's appeared in the Wigan first team. Ball's been lost by Reba. Early chance for Leeds. Matthew to Morley. Morley straightening up and running straight first into Cowie and then into Goldspink. Glanville. Appended with the help of Andy Farrell. Leeds 12 metres out from the Wigan line. Ryan Sheridan. Anthony Farrell. Taken by Cassidy, whose eye injury has now been repaired after 6 or 7 stitches. Harris can't quite break the tackle, but has scrambled to within a couple of metres. Blackmore is at acting halfback. Darryl Powell looking for the longer pass towards Lee Jackson, who was tackled but not taken, and here's a chance for Leeds with Sheridan, grabbed around the neck, collared literally by Connolly, but he couldn't hang on. Here's Glanville, Cummins waiting patiently on the wing, now he has his chance, but it's a chance that doesn't last long. Last tackle, Brobden trying to get over in the corner. The ball has gone back, and it's still alive. The angled kick, fielded by Neil Cowie. But there was a knock-on.
The last option open to Leeds was the little kick through along the floor. It caused again problems. Neil Cowie could not collect. It was touched first by his feet, and then as he tried to collect it and pass it to Gary Connolly, just a little knock-on. And Leeds will have possession from the scrum.
Here it is from the base of the scrum, with Harris. Two to his right, Blackmore and Rivett. It's Harris who goes to ground. Richie Blackmore. Plenty of Wigan players waiting to stop him. Rivett, Sheridan, Anthony Farrell. Neil Cowie struggling to put him to ground. Still struggling to put him to ground. Jackson, Sheridan, Leeds probing, trying to find a way through, which as yet has not appeared. Here's Rivett, and now Darryl Powell. Powell hauled over by Danny Moore. Heavy Leeds pressure. Sheridan, long pass to Harris, misses out one of his colleagues. This is Morley. Almost American football style, handing it off back to Harris. He was short of options. Here's Adrian Morley. Still the ball is kept alive, only just. Sheridan, Powell. Now it's Morley, tackled by Cassidy. The ball has been in play for so long now, without a meaningful tackle being made. Richie Blackmore, Rivett trying to get past Danny Moore, but Moore is a bull of a man and there was no way past. Blackmore again, Harris, Wigan being given such a stern examination. Came off a Wigan boot and is picked up by Harris, but there was a knock-on in the midst of all that. And it's going to be a scrum down with put into Wigan.
It was Lee Gilmore that put the pressure on for Wigan. The ball ricocheting, and then as Iestyn Harris tried to gather, Lee Gilmore, close attention, caused Iestyn Harris just a little fumble. And Iestyn Harris who starts the passes given 14. Tactical kicks as well, 8. He's been involved. We'll see probably more of him now, moving up into the standoff or loose forward role as the game progresses.
Cowie, tackled by Matthew, member of the Australian contingent here at Leeds. Goldspin danced on and run, but the ball went forward as it was spilt loose towards Robinson, and Leeds have regained it. Morley.
The Leeds have been using the ball well, trying to put it through the hands, but Morley only knows one way, and that's direct. Same two for this player now.
Anthony Farrell. Harris going through his full repertoire and trying to find something that might catch Wigan out, but Blackmore couldn't hold on to the pass.
Well, yes, exactly. I think he expected Richard Blackmore to come back on the inside. He just managed to catch the ground before Richard Blackmore was able to take control.
Blackmore, one of only 2 players on the Leeds side who've ever appeared in Challenge Cup finals. He was in the Castleford side, beaten by Wigan in 1992. Here's Flonimo. Blackmore was also in the Castleford team that beat Wigan 33-2 here to win the Regal Trophy in 1994. Wigan's heaviest ever defeat in a cup final. Here's Connolly. And a real rarity, a scoreline like that in such a major occasion. Farrell. Changing direction. Still having to accept the tackle and submit to it, which came in from Anthony Farrell. Farrell on Farrell. Radlinski. Harris across. And about to be enveloped by Simon Horton. Sheridan. And Cummings.
Out expect Leeds to use the kicking game a little more in this half. They seem to have quite a strong breeze now at their backs, and with a man less, will look to put the ball downfield and put some pressure on Wigan deep in their own half. They've also got their eye on Wes Cotton on the left wing for Wigan. On this occasion, they kick to Wigan's right, and a little bit too long as well.
Yes, for Wes Davis, it's a big day, isn't it?
Sorry, Wes Davis. I mean, he's inexperienced. He is a good player with a lot of talent. I remember his debut for Wigan against Salford, scored a try. But I think Leeds will try and exploit his lack of experience.
Shouldn't be short of advice, should he, in the family household with a granddad like Billy Boston. Here's Horton. Blackmore didn't let him up immediately. Not penalised. Goldspink, who was in the St Helens side but lost to Wigan at the quarter-final stage of this Challenge Cup competition last season. Robinson going off his right foot, then off his left, and making it just as far as halfway. Cassidy. Now Cowie. The first ever cup meeting between these sides was 100 years ago next month here at Headingley, and Leeds won it through a solitary try, 3 points to 0. Here's Radlinski. Cassidy offloading to Reba. Reba has got Wes Davis, but the ball went forward. It won't count. No try, says the referee, Russell Smith. I'm not sure that Wes Davis knew that as he put the ball over the line, but most of his colleagues did.
And this is the forward pass. The referee was bang on line. It looked borderline.
Lee Jackson is the Leeds player who's injured.
Jackson scooting from the acting half-back position, and then Neil Cowie and Mick Cassidy in the tackle. And Jackson seemed to get a knock to the rib area.
Leeds are having to give some of their players a rest, such as the tackling stint that's required of them since the sending off in the first half of Barry McDermott. Marcus St-Hilaire on for Darryl Powell, the latest of those alterations. Because it is a challenge, particularly for Australian coaches who are used to unlimited substitutions, unlimited interchanges, to have to work with only 6 in English Rugby League. Here's Robinson. Up to meet him was Morley, but Robinson stayed on his feet. Where's Davis? Showing a keen pair of heels until caught by Jackson.
You mentioned the substitute rule there in Australia. Greg Florimore seems to have struggled a little bit towards the end of the first half as the referee blows for a penalty for another high shot.
A little altercation after a attempted a tackle that was a little high.
Lee Gilmore and Lee Jackson, and it was again above the collar. No hesitation from Russell Smith, the referee. But there's Greg Follimore, who seemed to struggle a little bit with the pace of the game. I'm not sure if he was a player that was used in that unlimited substitution rule in Australia quite regularly or quite frequent. But the pace of this game seems to have caught up with him.
Mark Glanville just going off there, as you saw, to be replaced by Andy Hay, another Leeds substitution. Here's Goldspink for Wigan. Farrell, Horton.
Leeds following custom and practice by putting St-Hilaire at full-back, reorganising Yeston Harris going to number 6 at stand-off.
Interference at the play the ball. Penalty to Wigan.
Well, the referee read that Yeston Harris didn't let Simon Horton play the ball. And I think it was 6 of one and half a dozen the other, did they say?
Sure, they like it.
There seemed to be nobody actually touching Simon Horton at the end.
Where did the invisible man, Joe? Andy Farrell lining up this opportunity. This could put Wigan in front for the first time in the game. A picture of concentration. If you looked at his face again, it would be a picture of dejection. Keith Mills, the man who brought on the kicking cup, a former Wigan player, he was in the side that won the BBC Two Floodlit Trophy. He used to bring on the kicking cup for you, Joe, as well, didn't he?
He did. We used to have a little banter when I was kicking. He used to bet me that I'd miss, and was usually right too.
He told me that he once nearly took a kick for you after you'd missed 3 or 4 in a row. He said that happened quite frequently. I don't know whether that's true or just malicious gossip. Anyway, Leeds have it with St-Hilaire. Francis Cummins. Lee Jackson. Turns first left and now right. Ducked underneath the tackle. Goldspink picked out by referee Russell Smith this time. Once again, tempers fraying. Neil Cowie is never one to back away from an argument. Well, it was Farrell that went in, I think, with a fist. Goldspink the first to try and get to him, but Farrell, when Jackson hit the ground, went in very late, but it's Goldspink that's been picked out by the referee. Harris. Sheridan. Now Andy Hay. Jackson, Ryan Sheridan, Jamie Matthew this time. Sheridan going on his own. 3 Wigan tacklers wrapping him up. Now Iestyn Harris, back to Sheridan. So tight this game. And now here's Brad Godden. Cummins, drinking his way, but not to the line. Hay to Harris. Chipping through, and it's gathered by his opposite number, the other fullback, Radlinski, virtually on his own line.
Again, good covering by Wigan, just cutting down Leeds' options. But this is the part of the field that Leeds want to be in.
Gilmore. Danny Moore. Goldspink. Ball is still alive with Simon Horton. Florimo to Connolly. Just got it away in time to Jason Robinson, who'll kick and chase. He's past Hay. Inside Jackson, it goes to Radlinski. Chance here for Wigan. Man over on this near side, but it's been knocked on by Mark Reba.
All Reba had to do was collect and find 1 of 2 men in support on the outside. Leeds were shot to pieces, and Wigan would have scored.
And then Reba got involved in an altercation with a Leeds player for which Leeds have been awarded a penalty.
Probably out of frustration. Possibly somebody from Leeds, the Leeds side said something. More out of relief than I think anything else. Because I said that ball, if it had stuck and been transferred to the supporting player, would have been a try for Wigan, without a doubt.
Anthony Farrell. There was a suggestion from both coaches that their sides might not be quite properly attuned to the demands of such a fixture as this so early in the season, but from what you've seen, Joe, is that really rather false? Are they attuned?
I think they prepared very well both sides. It was always going to be a case of which team used their chances best and also used their substitutions best. But then with Barry McDermott leaving the field for Leeds caused more problems than probably Graham Murray would have anticipated.
Harris now inside towards Godden, and Cummins racing to within 15 metres. Sheridan, drop goal, The scores are level. £14 to 12, rather. Leeds sneaking it. A 2-point margin now.
Well, Gordon with plenty of time, lines up the 1-point drop goal. Needed to get some result from being camped in the Wigan's territory. Steps up and accepts the challenge to take 1 point off Wigan.
Are we down to that stage now, Joe, where drop goals are going to be decisive?
I think there's still an awful long way to go in this game. I don't think the score you just saw on the screen of 14 points to 12 will be the final one, not by a long way.
Here's St-Hilaire.
Should the scores be level when the full-time whistle goes, there will be extra time played, 2 periods of 10 minutes each. And should that result in no winner, then there will be a golden point rule put into place.
Yes, it's worth emphasising that there's no facility for a replay to this game. It must be settled today. This is Richie Blackmore. Weston Harris. The Leeds coach, Graham Murray, did admit that perhaps last season, when Leeds lost here to Castleford, he hadn't realised the immense significance of the Challenge Cup, and maybe the team weren't quite as prepared as they might have been, but leading here 14 points to 12, despite losing Barry McDermott in the first half.
And a chance of another 2 points from the penalty there, with Jason Robinson just taking the ball off Weston Harris when the tackle was completed.
Gateshead's coach, Sean McRae, he of course was in charge of St Helens on that famous day when they lost Bobby Goulding but beat Wigan in this same competition 2 years ago. And the reason that he's here, above all else, is that Gateshead Thunder's opening Super League fixture in 3 weeks' time is at home to Leeds. Weston Harris attempting to increase the Leeds lead from 2 points to 4. It's good.
He knew as soon as he made contact with the ball that that was going over for 2 points. Kept his head down. A great pressure kick. And there to watch it go over Barry McDermott, the player sent off. But Weston Harris is the man that strikes the ball straight and through. And 2 further points for Leeds.
An hour played. Effectively 3/4 time. And the margin is 4 points in favour of Leeds. Down to the touchline of Richard.
And Graham Murray, the Leeds coach, weighing his options now. His main options centre around Darren Fleary, who's waiting to come back on. He's got to be careful. Darren's a very volatile player. And, of course, Darryl Powell's had a good rest. I don't expect that we won't see him again in this game so far. One more thing that's happened is that the inside of Anthony Farrell's mouth has been checked because he's got some nasty cuts in there somewhere. But he seems to be fit enough to go on with the game.
Harris to Blackmore. Held by Robinson. Leeds work it left with Harris, who was flattened just as he left the ball by Danny Moore, but it's taken well by Radlinski.
Good chase by Jackson as well, clamps the player and the ball. And again the pressure on Wigan on their own line.
Wes Davis held man and ball. Robinson. Wigan trying to escape. Farrell. Now Horton. Andrew Farrell. There's the kick from inside his own 40, but that's going to land centre field and be picked up by Francis Cummins, the man who was the youngest ever Wembley Challenge Cup finalist when he appeared for Leeds against Wigan 5 seasons ago, just 17 2/3. St-Hilaire. Referee cries, get up, get up. Wanted to keep the pace of the game going. Godden. Seems a long time since he scored the opening try. Sheridan. Anthony Farrell. Harris. Well, past when he wasn't sure that he could find a teammate. And Wigan have it back.
He just seemed to hold the ball a little bit too long, Easton Harris. They're going towards the line, towards the defenders, and maybe a quicker decision would have been a better option, but a mistake by Wigan.
Yes, it was Moore's pass that Davis couldn't hold on to, and this is Blackmore for Leeds. Jackson. Sheridan. Now Morley. Bounced away from Andy Farrell. Again, a good position for Leeds. Ryan Sheridan, the scrum half, to Iestyn Harris. Andy Hay was on his shoulder. Harris is still going. And needlessly, ball is given away.
Well, that was a great chance for Leeds lost there. For once in this second half, they had the numbers on Wigan, couldn't use it. And again, the decision-making process, and that in particular of Iestyn Harris, must be questioned.
Horton. Goldspin. Radlinski. Lost the ball. Chance for Leeds. Godden to Francis Cummins. Wigan's defence remaining tight. Penalty though, given to Wigan. Robinson. Moore. Andy Farrell. Run around with Florimo. Now Lee Gilmore. Horton. Span away from Richie Blackmore. A boot goes flying in the midst of that. It's Simon Horton who's lost his left boot. Here's Cassidy. Footwear has now been recovered. Goldspin. Robinson. Trying to change the point of direction of the attack. Gary Connolly.
Close attention by Godden. Brings it to the ground.
Gilmore. Chip through. Rivets.
Just managed to keep hold of that ball. Leroy Rivet. But only just. And again, Leeds breathe a sigh of relief.
Tony Mestrop is coming back on for Wigan in place of Brett Goldspink. Here's Andy Hay for Leeds. Lee Jackson. Godden. Oh, Cummins stumbled, and Godden saw that and didn't release the pass, and that was late by Terry O'Connor. No need to go in after the tackle had been made.
And one or two of the Leeds players are feeling that maybe this should be the sin bin.
Well, it's a stern lecture from Russell Smith, but nothing more. O'Connor is allowed to remain on the field of play.
Gordon wasn't even looking for support, just trying to find the flow and play the ball quickly. And Leeds 60% time in the opponent's half in this second half.
Sheridan. Jamie Matthew.
It'd be interesting to see whether Leeds will work at centre field and have another goal for the 1 point.
Morley couldn't escape from Cassidy's attentions. Hay to Harris to Sheridan. Back to Jackson. Marcus St-Hilaire.
Will it be Harris for one?
Well, he shakes as if to, but it was a dummy, and it's Hay burrowing his way towards the post. 3 Wigan players trying to hold it off. It's still alive, and St-Hilaire has scored. Marcus St-Hilaire with the try for Leeds beneath the post. 4 points will surely become 6. And is that margin going to be enough to secure a rare Challenge Cup victory for Leeds against their greatest rivals?
This try was down to Leeds' willingness to keep the ball alive. Iestyn Harris seemed to be lined up for the drop goal in front of the sticks. Instead, he decided to throw the dummy and have a go himself, darted towards the try line, and then used the support play. There was a struggle on, the ball was released, it went to ground, and St-Hilaire found the try line, and a crucial try for Leeds. The pumping legs of the Leeds player, Andy Hay, couldn't make it to the line. The ball came loose, but backwards, which was the crucial part, and St-Hilaire was on hand to score. 3 elite Wigan players trying to stop Andy Hay. The ball shoots out, and Leeds score the try.
Well, Barry McDermott departed the fray after 19 minutes of play, but Marcus St-Hilaire's try may mean that his team is the side going through to the next round of the Challenge Cup. Iestyn Harris to convert the try. Straightforward. 22-12. Points between the sides, and another blow for Wigan is that after that try had been scored, Andy Farrell said something out of turn to the referee and has been sent to the sin bin for 10 minutes.
So both sides level now with the players on the field, both one down, although Andy Farrell is only for 10 minutes, but there are 14 minutes remaining. Here's the try again. Andy Hay driving forward towards the line, couldn't release the ball, Jackson passed it on to St-Hilaire, and there's a try.
Rivette. Jackson.
So 10 minutes remaining on the clock, and it doesn't look like Andy Farrell, the Wigan captain, will be back on to join his teammates. If he is, it's either for extra time or the closing dying seconds of the game.
And surely the key to this surge by Leeds is with the switch of position of Iestyn Harris in the action there. Since Harris moved up to the number 6 position, he's taken the ball forward on at least a dozen occasions.
Here's Sheridan, and now it's Brad Godden, and Godden slices through, but can't quite make it to the line. He's held up right on the line, trying to burrow in. It's a try, and that surely is the clincher. Great joy on the terraces around Headingley. Leeds in front by 26 points to 12, and the scrum half Ryan Sheridan was the man who burrowed his way through.
Brad Gordon made the break, the player that opened the account on the scoreboard for Leeds. Pulled out just inches from the try line, a quick play of the ball, Sheridan's on hand and just dives across to score the try. Adrian Morley, a beautiful little pass inside, found Ryan Sheridan's space. He again finds Gordon on the outside. 2 players track back and just managed to stop Gordon, and then the try is scored by Sheridan, who worms his way across the line, and the joy of the players is in contrast to Andy Farrell there, the Wigan captain.
Farrell had the look of a man who knows that this year he won't be lifting the Silk Cut Challenge Cup. Harris once more. Made to look easy.
Immaculate kicking. And possibly the final nail in the Wigan coffin as far as this Challenge Cup campaign goes for 1999.
Leeds have been on the receiving end so many times from Wigan. In recent years particularly, remember it's 31 years since last Leeds overcame Wigan in the Challenge Cup. The semi-final at Swinton in 1968 was the last occasion. And it's looking increasingly likely that it will be Leeds' name that will go into the fifth round draw, which we will have here on Sunday Grandstand at 5:10 this afternoon. Blackmore, tackled by Mestro. Time is against Leeds. Time is against Wigan, rather, as they seek to redress the balance. Jackson, ducked underneath the tackle by Mick Cassidy.
Enormous amount of tackles having been made by Wigan, 144.
Godden. It's his incisive run that set up the position from which Sheridan scored the try. Harris, another drop, wide.
Just wide, but well worth it. The scoreboard is now well in their advantage, and also the clock, which ticks away. Great involvement in the game there. Passes 28. He's been involved in everything, Justin Harris. His kicking has been immaculate. He has moved as we suggested he would. Further up the field into the front line, with Centeleur coming on at fullback.
What that gap means, 16 points, is effectively Wigan need to score 3 times and convert the lot of them. And they have not much more than 5 minutes in which so to do. Gilmore. Andy Johnson is coming back on for Wigan. Simon Horton will be replaced. And O'Connor's lost the ball.
Wigan having to force the passes now to try and find the gaps. And 3 men in attendance make sure that the ball is turned over to Leeds. They'll take their time, work their way downfield again, possibly another drop goal.
Blackmore. Rivette to Jackson. They'll be brought back.
This time it's Richard Blackmore that makes a little mistake.
Qualimo. Bondinsky, and now Mestrop. O'Connor.
There are 2 players that are missed by Wigan today. On the right, as we look at the screen, Tony Smith, the scrum half, that caused so many problems for John Money, the coach, having to make the changes.
Here's Florimo. Dennis Betts has had his knee reconstructed after a ligament injury suffered at Salford last autumn. Kick is hoisted by Jason Robinson. And Robinson follows up over the line and scores. It may well be too little too late, but Jason Robinson, the former Leeds ball boy, has scored for Wigan at Headingley and has reduced the gap.
The kick falling down just in front of the try line. Centeleur went up for it, but it's Jason Robinson that came down with it to score the try. 76 minutes gone on the scoreboard, and as you say, John, possibly a little bit, well, too little too late as Robinson scores the try. 3 players contested the ball against 1 for Leeds, and Jason Robinson was the one that collected it.
Well, with Andy Farrell off the field, Greg Florimo is going to attempt the conversion, which is successful, but still there is a 10-point margin in Leeds' favour. Greg Florimo, this player of vast experience, holds the record number of appearances for North Sydney, and Ryan Sheridan, the scorer of the most recent Leeds try, has been named man of the match by members of the Rugby League Writers Association present at Headingley today.
And who could argue with that decision? Sheridan, along with Justin Harris, has been involved in all of Leeds' play. And again, it emphasises the problems Wigan have had without their first choice scrum half, Tony Smith. Sheridan has had the chance to dominate.
Still, the big hits continue. Here's Radlinski. Now Andy Johnson. Connolly. We talked about those 3 converted tries that Wigan needed. They got one of them. Clock ticking away all the time inside the last couple of minutes.
You would expect Wigan to run this, try and find a gap on the outside.
Has to be a measure of desperation rugby now from Wigan. Here's Robinson. O'Connor just hurled the ball backwards, trying to keep it alive. Lorimer. Lee Gilmore. Space opens up in front of him. He needs support at his left shoulder. It comes from Radlinski. Here's Danny Moore. There's a man over on this near side. Connolly intercepts the pass and comes inside. And still, the ball is alive, but there was an overlap which then disappeared. Farrell back on the field is flattened from behind, and Leeds come away with the ball with Francis Cummins. Breathless passage of play. And Leeds now just need to hang on to the ball. We're inside the last minute of normal time.
And this could be one of the slowest sets of 6 tackles we've seen this afternoon.
Newton. Darryl Powell. Maybe his dream of getting through to a first ever Challenge Cup final is still alive. This is Andy Hay. Andy Hay still going, might have passed towards Marcus St-Hilaire. Didn't. Leeds looking for what very definitely would be a clinching score, and it's St-Hilaire trying to fight his way up towards the line. Wigan not so much rocking as almost out on their feet. Francis Cummins to Leroy Rivett. Richie Blackmore. Blackmore is held up by Wes Davis. Ball is still though available for Leeds to attack with, and this is Justin Harris. Now Darryl Powell. Powell to Morley. Morley on the diagonal run, lost the ball, and it's been picked up by Gary Connolly for Wigan. Inside his own area behind the posts, and we are now in stoppage time. Leeds have scored 4 tries, Wigan 3. 11 points from the boot of Justin Harris. That may well prove to have made the crucial difference. Any second now, the hooter will go, and it has gone! It's always a momentous moment when Wigan go out of the Challenge Cup, and we have such a moment now, because Leeds have beaten their greatest rivals in this competition for the first time in 31 seasons. Leeds, whose Challenge Cup record shows them to be the nearly men, semi-finalists at least in 5 of the last 6 seasons, but they have overcome the biggest set of opponents that they're likely to face in the Challenge Cup. The likes of Bradford and St Helens may well lie in wait in the future, but they will believe they can do anything, having knocked Wigan out of this year's Silk Cut Challenge Cup. Let's go down to the touchline for some reaction.
And the Leeds coach, Graham Murray. Graham, congratulations. That was always going to be a very hard task. It became almost impossible after the sending off.
I think most sides would have succumbed to that with the 12 men, but that's the quality of the football team they've got here. They just got deep and they gave everything they possibly could.
What about the quality of the coaching? I thought the switch of Justin Harris was crucial, wasn't it?
Well, we've done that a few times. It's not a secret, but you know, I think this is the best win I've ever been involved with. It's a tremendous atmosphere and a tremendous win.
I mean, the players stayed focused, they stayed organised and got the victory. It was good, wasn't it?
It was. It's just a brilliant bunch of blokes, and they're a good football team. I mean, we put it to Wigan today and we come away with the win. You can't be any prouder.
I'm sure you are. Congratulations, Graham. Let's have a word with Justin Harris. Justin, I think that we were saying the key really to that game was your switch from full-back up into the half-backs, really, wasn't it?
No, I don't think so. I think generally it's just down to attitude. You know, we went down to 12 men after Barry got sent off, and really it was just a tempo call, and we had to pick ourselves up. And credit to all the lads, they did just that.
You feel sorry for Barry in a way, because I guess he was just so pumped up with the occasion, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was pumped up, and perhaps there'd been another player they once he got sent off. Probably it's just a little bit of Barry's reputation. But it's unlucky, and nobody blames Barry because we've come out with a win, and you know, it's good for him and it's good for the team.
It's a sweet one to win.
Very, very sweet. Yeah, hopefully we can get that one further now and get to Wembley.
Congratulations yesterday, and the man of the match, Ryan Sheridan. Ryan, congratulations. I guess there were times in that match when you thought you might not make it.
We always knew it was going to be tough, but especially with 12 men, and we dug in there and we come out with a great win.
What were you saying to each other the second half? Because Leeds seem to have that will that's surprising for a team that's depleted.
Well, that's the thing that Graham Money's brought in. You know, we've got an absolutely great team spirit here. You know, and it's just unbelievable, and we dug in.
So now we're a long way from Wembley, but you must be thinking about it, really.
No, we had a good win today, and we're just thinking about the draw tonight. So whatever we get.
Have a look at the draw, 5:30. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks very much. Thank you.